Guys of a Certain Age is brought to you by no one. Absolutely no one. Except these dudes walking down memory lane. Now let's head to the studio to see what they misremember next.
We're on air. At least that's what the new sign I got for Christmas says. It's Robbie Colin's Guys of a Certain Age in studio alongside two people in the realness.
Ooh.
Yeah. Who are you?
Art Shirley.
Somebody got some vocabulary for Christmas.
Yeah, that's right.
And Jay Reed.
And Jay Reed. Jay Reed. Gentlemen, did you get what you wanted from Santa Claus?
Yes.
Pretty much.
I got a cool on-air sign from my youngest son.
That is very cool.
I haven't even taken the plastic off yet. I want to make sure it worked. So, thank you, Mark. You have, your gift is soaring over the fake Darth Vader and R2-D2 and the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet oven mitt in the studio here. We should give.
Do I hear a hum from it? No, just kidding.
We should give tours of the Guys of a Certain Age podcast studio. Problem is, people will make us pay them to take the tour. Yeah, right. So, all right, let's jump into Geeks of the Week, maybe? Is anybody ready? I mean,
Stephen Yoon.
Oh, so he's ready.
Yes.
He got some vocabulary too, Jay.
Yes. I have this guy's name. Best known, I think, still for playing Glenn in The Walking Dead.
And Dead Glenn after.
Dead Glenn, yeah. Popeye. Anyway, he was attached to the movie Thunderbolts. Is that what it's called? Thunderbolts?
Yeah.
That didn't sound right as I said it.
You picked a fine time to hit me, Lucille.
Oh, man. Yikes.
Little Walking Dead homage.
Walking Dead humor.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead, please.
Anyway, he was attached to the movie Thunderbolts, playing the character of Sentry, and has now dropped out of the movie. There's rumors that the movie may not happen, but anyway, he has dropped out. A lot of people did not care for his casting choice, like him as an actor. I don't know anybody that doesn't like him as an actor. He's just really, really good in what he does. But Sentry is a very bulky kind of guy. That think more Alan Richson. Is that how you say his name?
It's kind of like casting Tom Cruise's Reacher.
Yeah. But
which he's not.
Yeah.
So, well,
all of those movies did well, but
relatively
speaking,
yeah.
Relatively speaking. A lot of people. And so I hope he was kind of vague about his reasons for dropping out. He said things happened, some projects shifted around, which made it sound like a scheduling change. But he said he would still like to do a Marvel movie, but realizes he may have made enough people mad with his exit that they wouldn't. But I think it's early enough in the process. Maybe they'll bring him back for something. I don't know what he could be.
Who would he be? What Marvel character would he be?
I don't know. I can think he might be a great Atom in DC continuity.
Yeah. What about Nightcrawler? You think he could be a good Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler would be good.
Yeah. I think he could be a good Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
So,
probably something in the X-Men.
I would think
be
so.
Good. Yeah.
Juggernaut. He could play Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep casting him in really.
Yeah.
The Hulk, without CGI.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. The Lou Ferrigno style of Hulk. I thought you were going to say something else.
I did too. I thought I was going to do it, and I realized I don't have anything more to say.
Oh, nothing more to say. So, but I mean, I'm hoping Thunderbolts will happen. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe
they got Harrison Ford attached to it. You've got so I think that
that's the one reason I'm looking forward to it. I don't really know anything about Thunderbolts.
After watching Monarch, I'm a big fan of
Kurt Russell.
No,
you're already a big fan of Kurt Russell.
Yeah, his son.
Okay. Wyatt
Russell. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, are you watching Monarch yet?
I watched first episode. I'm very intrigued.
What about, have you gotten into it at all, Art?
Yeah. I respond every time you ask.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You've renewed Apple TV. That's right.
Yes, we've watched it. We are just, fervently waiting for the next episode.
Have you watched the one that dropped today?
That's what I guess we'll watch tonight.
Yeah, that's what I want.
So they've changed their drop schedule to Thursdays.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it said released on Friday.
Yeah, and then last week they released on Thursday because we're sitting there going, hey, there's one out. And I figured they did that because they didn't want to compete with the holiday weekend, possibly. But, so we're happy for that.
So you got Monarch. What's the other show going on?
For All Mankind.
For All Mankind.
We haven't started that back up yet.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I kind of skimmed through the previews of that one. It looks interesting.
I think it's the best show.
You haven't watched any of that yet?
I've watched up till this current season.
Oh, okay, good. So we're in the same boat.
Yeah. I haven't started.
You're in the same ship.
Yeah, we're in the same orbiter.
Yeah, I think it's the best show that's been done on Apple TV Plus yet.
Okay.
I like
even better than the last one you said was the best.
Well, Severance I really liked.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso obviously is a fan favorite, but man, I really like For All Mankind.
Okay.
So
I started watching The Chosen. Are any of y'all watching? Have you watched The Chosen?
I've watched a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched an episode or two, and I keep falling asleep.
Okay.
So, probably need to watch it when I'm wide awake. Same thing with Rebel Moon.
You haven't finished Rebel Moon yet?
I haven't finished Rebel Moon yet, so I don't know the twists and the turns, So, but I can't. It's so Seven Samurai. I mean,
it really is.
I mean,
and we talked about maybe doing an episode of that, which I guess we forgot.
Maybe next week we should
watch it.
Yeah. So, but you've seen Rebel Moon, Jay?
I want to see it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So,
somebody described it. I think I told y'all this is a big budget B movie, and that's pretty much what it is. Did y'all ever see Battle Beyond the Stars or whatever with
Richard Thomas?
Yes,
was it Richard?
Yeah, I was starting to say John Boy, but
John Boy. Yeah.
And Sybil Danning and
with the spaceship that looked like a slug.
Yeah. Just a bizarre show. But it was Seven Samurai in space already.
Yeah.
So,
well, Star Wars is a little Seven Samurai.
Well,
yeah.
So I mean, like I said, that's not a bad story to rip off.
No, Magnificent Seven did it best. Probably.
Yeah, the original one. Yeah, my favorite.
All right,
I guess we just had that episode.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Well, thanks for joining us this week. So, Jay, what you got for a geek?
Well, this week the Disney company saw a huge drop. I guess they didn't drop it, but it got dropped. Steamboat Willie, and I think another short called Plain Crazy was released in the public domain.
Well, yeah, they didn't drop it. They had no choice.
Right.
Yeah.
It got dropped, but it affected them. Of course, there's a lot of limitations, and I don't understand all the ramifications and everything of what you can use and what you can't use. Apparently, you can show and resell the original short, but to use the character, you have to use
the Steamboat Willie version,
right? Exactly,
of the character, not the Mickey Mouse version,
right? Because Mickey Mouse is still trademarked, but Mickey alone is not. It's kind of convoluted, but already stuff is out.
Yeah.
The one thing I noticed that was kind of reminiscent of
Winnie the
Pooh movie.
I thought about this when I saw that. Yeah.
Was a game called Infestation '88 that where the Steamboat Willie hunts the players, and you see like this shadow behind the player with the Steamboat Willie sort of silhouette. So there's a lot of stuff, little shorts and things that are already out. I haven't sat down and looked through it, but also Tigger, I think, was released in the public domain as well.
Wow. Well, not necessarily released in the public domain. Copyright protection expired.
Okay. Well,
yeah. It wasn't released. It wasn't released. As goodwill. The copyright protection.
Oh, right. But it is in the public domain now because the copyright protection has lapsed. And so I guess that's why in the Winnie the Pooh movie from last year, I can't even remember the name, Bloody something.
Yeah.
Whatever we talked about it. We did a whole episode on it.
Blood and Honey or something.
Blood and Honey, right.
Yeah.
Tigger was not featured in that one, but Blood and Honey 2
will feature Tigger.
Tigger's in that one. So I think we'll see. That's probably why he went in the first one, I'm guessing.
What's real interesting to me is copyright protection. Copyright law has been revised several times through the years at the behest of the Disney company to protect Mickey Mouse. Mm-hmm. So not solely to protect Mickey Mouse, but Disney has lobbied the federal government to continue to extend copyright protection.
Right.
Yeah.
And because Mickey has become a trademark of Disney, I did read this a minute ago that a lot of companies, they said, are trying to make an end run around the copyright protections by calling it a trademark, which doesn't have the same timeline of limitations. So
yeah, I think
but the Supreme Court has said no, you can't use that as an end run against the.
Yeah, I believe a trademark is indefinite. I think you can hold a trademark, but it's like patents on drugs. I mean, how many? And this is in your realm. How many drugs were developed 30 years ago now that have generics because the patents have expired or what have you? So. Anyway,
So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of it besides.
I want to see how Steamboat Willie does in the world of Jack Quasar.
Oh, yeah, me too.
That's the crossover that we'll all have been waiting on, right? So, $1 million idea.
There it is.
Maybe $1 million peso idea. So,
Starship Willie.
Starship Willie. Nice. Well, my geek is kind of interesting in and of that.
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah. So with the Ahsoka series, we saw some live action Clone Wars pieces, parts. Well, somebody has come in and Hello There Animations has taken 15 minutes of Revenge of the Sith, the tail end of Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan and Anakin are dueling, and has made a complete animated in style of Clone Wars recreation.
Wow, that's cool. That is interesting.
It is really, really cool. In and of that, they also brought in some other pieces, parts from other Star Wars media that happened at the same time to make it a coherent story. So you could have some Clone Wars pieces pulled in and whatnot. I haven't watched the whole thing. I just watched the Palpatine taking Anakin from Mustafar to having him made into Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But the animation is spot on. It's pretty amazing. It looks like an episode of the Clone Wars. So, but
where is this? Where do you see it?
It's on the YouTubes.
On the YouTube.
Let's see if I can tell you. I do have my volume down. It's had 2 million views in 5 days as we're recording this. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So
that is very cool.
Also, something else Star Wars related. It looks like the sequel trilogy to the sequel trilogy is starting production.
What?
So
what's that? That's the Rey story, right?
Yeah. So maybe a 2025 release.
Wow.
I mean, there's been some hints. Maybe filming may be ramping up soon. So we'll see what.
But this is considered a continuation of that story, or is it just its own trilogy that just happens to include those characters? It's not this. Is it part of the Skywalker? I guess it would be since she's Rey Skywalker.
She's now Rey Skywalker. Yeah. She is going to rebuild the Jedi. So Rise of the Jedi, New World Order, something. So can't leave those pesky Skywalkers alone. I would love to see something 100 years after this to see what's happening.
Yeah.
And kind of fill in the blanks. But anyway, I ain't Kathleen Kennedy or Dave Filoni.
Give it time. It'll come.
Well, yeah. And so does that story of Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order interest you at all?
It depends on how it's handled. I mean, it could. I mean, my thought is if they can kind of go through and redeem this last trilogy, that might be a good thing. If Dave Filoni's involved with it, I feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah. Well, as chief creative officer.
Remember my prediction is that George Lucas will be back in the fold.
I was just thinking about that, but I just regarded it as news. I thought that was a Geek of the Week, not a prediction. So
even Jay doesn't listen to the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, just slips. Say.
Yeah. Sorry, Mrs. Reese. Sorry, Mr. Reese. Sorry, Mr. Shirley. Sorry, everybody. So, all right. SMR. That's our new shorthand for Sorry, Mrs. Reed. SMR. So, all right. After the break, we're going to talk about the future that could have been but wasn't. Stay tuned. It's the 80s. Where's our rocket packs? Actually, it's way beyond the 80s. That was a song by a band called Daniel Amos that I loved called It's the 80s. Where's our rocket packs? We were talking earlier about what was going to be my Geek of the Week, which was how 2024 is a very monumental year in Star Trek lore. How riots start to happen the beginning of World War III, which sets up the Federation and Starfleet and yada, yada, yada. And so as we were casting about for a topic to talk about, I said, why don't we
This is weeks ago we were having this discussion about what
in the
we were
planning
gonna do today.
sessions.
in the planning sessions.
Right.
Yeah. Why don't we do
brainstorming as we do?
Why don't we do what could have been but hasn't? So this is going to be our segment.
Oh, it is. After I told him I don't have anything, but actually I do. I now am prepared. I can go back to the 19th century if we need to, but we won't.
No, that gets on Jay's Geek of the Week territory.
Yeah, careful.
Sorry. But one of the early ones I'll look at here was 1905. 1905. That year is significant because that's when the three-legged Martian folks landed in H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds.
I saw that.
So yeah, you saw that one already.
Well, yeah, we wrote it in 1898. Took place in
thinking
1905.
this is bound to happen by then.
Yeah.
That's right. We mentioned 1984. Have you read or watched 1984? Or read the book 1984?
I had to read the book in school. Yeah.
Okay. So you're familiar with it.
Yeah,
I never
Robbie
read
is
it.
not. I was kind of surprised about that. But there are events that take place in the book 1984 that actually occur in the 60s. So, everybody talked about how 1984, we're not quite there yet. Something may be up for debate. But anyway, that's in there. What do y'all have?
Well, so Star Trek, according to Star Trek lore, 2024 would be the year that the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland becoming a united nation. Which
okay.
That
has not happened.
That's right. No, that hasn't happened.
We mentioned Soylent Green. That was supposed to take place last year.
Actually, 2022 is what I read.
Oh, 2022 is what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but still, that I was thinking about that because I don't think I've seen that movie, but I looked it up and it was talking about the Soylent Corporation creates these wafers that everybody eats in this post-apocalyptic, because everything's post-apocalyptic that I read. And Soylent Green is the new wafer. And I thought, we don't have wafers like that, but there are like little pills on it. For a while, I forget if it was juice something. We had
we've got meal replacements. I mean, basically was what that was. So you've got like protein bars or whatever that you take, supposed to be a meal, everything you need in one bar.
That's true. And then we have these like little pills or gummies that you could take that were supposed to replace all you needed from your fruits for the day or your veggies for the day. If you took this pill, that's all you needed. So we're kind of, I guess, that direction. But we're not to where that's all we eat. It's like, I'll have 2 reds and a yellow today.
Yeah. And hopefully we're not making the meal replacements out of, spoiler alert, people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Soylent Green is people.
I didn't realize that.
You didn't? Oh, sorry.
I didn't.
I'm sorry, I spoiled it.
You didn't know that? Wow. I've never seen it, but yeah, Soylent Green.
It seems like maybe we've talked about it before, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Another Charlton Heston movie, maybe a more famous movie than Soylent Green, is Planet of the Apes.
That's
and
right.
Apparently, the Icarus, the spaceship he was in, left in 1972. I don't think that happened.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Did you see there's a new Planet of the Apes movie coming out this year, and so there's speculation that it's going to catch up with the Charlton Heston Planet of the Apes, and it's basically a prequel to it because there's all kinds of Easter eggs in this new sequence of movies about a lost spaceship that you see on headlines, on news, or in the newspaper or whatnot.
Well, like even in the first few movies, you saw something that looked like the Icarus. It says, Mars thing going attempted or whatever, and then the spaceship is lost. So you don't know. So you see that in
it's
news
lost in space.
That's right. I think that may have been one thing too. I can't find it, but anyway. It's so that's and it looks like the look of this new movie, this new Planet of the Apes movie, looks like what Heston or Taylor landed in and discovered. So that'll be cool.
The most famous time travel movie is the Back to the Future trilogy, and 2015 was supposed to be the year the Cubs won the World Series.
That's right.
Cubs almost made it to the World Series in 2015, but they actually won it in 2016. So does that count as future history fulfilling itself?
It's
That's
pretty close.
Yeah.
No.
And isn't there something in Legion, the Will Smith version of the Omega Man and the Last Man on Earth?
Yeah.
Where there's a Batman.
I Am Legend.
Yeah, I Am Legend. That's what it was. Legion
Yeah.
is something else completely.
Yeah.
But it's Top Gun Maverick, I think, is what I was thinking of. But anyway, there's a poster or there's a billboard in the background that has a Superman Batman logo on it.
Yeah.
So it's be a movie about with Superman and Batman in it.
Which is kind of what the logo for Superman versus Batman Dawn of Justice looks
That's
like.
right.
So, yeah, one of the ones I came across that was supposed to take place in 2024, and I feel like we talked about this briefly once on a similar show, was A Boy and His Dog.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
Yeah, that was supposed to supposedly happen in 2024, and again, that's another post-apocalyptic
almost
thing.
everything. Other than Star Trek, there's not a whole lot of happy future.
Happy predictions. Yeah, it's a rough, but like Don Johnson is in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's one of his early movies.
Jason Robards.
Uh-huh.
So you got some big names.
I saw that at the Hoka.
Oh, the
That doesn't
Hoka.
surprise me.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Hoka.
Yeah.
That's my most fond memories of Oxford is the Hoka.
Sure
So here's some things that were supposed to happen. So 2001, from 2001 Space Odyssey, there would be an extraterrestrial obelisk found on the moon.
Monolith,
And- yeah. It says obelisk here, but
Does
it would
it?
be the monolith. Yeah.
I always considered it.
And then they end up going to Jupiter. You have hotels in space. You've got the whole Hilton Hotel in space. So obviously that didn't happen. 2004, July of 2004, T-850 and the TX models arrived from Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. That obviously didn't happen.
Or as far as we know.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
So I'm looking through a few other things. This is really cool. This is
While
a
you're
complete.
looking through that, a lot of the old time radio stuff I listen to, has Ray Bradbury, Asimov, all these, famous. And it was like, the time is 1975. Men are living on other planets. And, they all took place in the 50s and the 40s.
Well, I have a vivid picture in my mind of going through the encyclopedia, when the encyclopedia was made of paper, and there was you look up at like airplanes, and there was a very futuristic sort of orange plane with a pointy nose on the front, and I don't, those kind of things.
Well, Blade Runner was supposed to take place 3 years or 4 years ago. It was in 2019.
That's what I just saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that didn't happen. None of this happened. I'm kind of,
Now the Jetsons, we've got another we've got 40 years for the Jetsons, or 38 years for the Jetsons, because that took place in 2062, 2064.
Yeah.
George is supposed to have been born already, though.
Zafran Cochrane's supposed to be born in 2030.
I saw that, yeah.
6 years from now. So we're way older than the guy who invented warp drive. That's really, so anyway.
The Sequest suddenly reappeared in 2031.
I saw that. And Mega City 1 is founded in 2031 as well. For
Now, I'm
Judge
going to guess by 2031, very few people will even have seen the TV show, the Sequest, let alone
Sequest DSV.
Yeah, that's right.
See, I always got Sequest and Sea Hunt mixed up.
Yeah.
Always got them mixed up. So this is pretty fascinating. So, there's a lot of Back to the Future through here.
Yeah. Now, Demolition Man, I saw a clip from that the other day. That was a fun movie. It was kind of a,
That was a fun movie.
supposed to happen in 2032, so there's still a shot for that.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Now, you mentioned the Star Trek thing. Didn't they, in Strange New Worlds, didn't they do something to kind of retcon that a little bit so they could put it in
I
the
think they
future?
did.
And so
I think they
the
did,
events
but-
of Khan, anyway, would be a little, which were supposed to have happened already, haven't happened.
So in Star Trek 2024, Beyond the Irish Reunification, you've got France is rocked by a series of civil protests. You've got political battles. You've got climate change. You've got wildfires, polluted air, climate displacement, a homelessness crisis that eventually leads to the establishment of the sanctuary districts in 2024. So
These should all be, the third example in Star Trek, because it was always, much like your Civil War in the 1860s and World War II in the 1940s, and the war of something that happened in 2015. That third example is always something that was completely fictional.
And you remember the entirety of season 3 of Picard took place in 2024.
Ah,
Yeah, and when I read about the Sanctuary City things, that's it's a district, but we do that
It's
terminology
not-
is in our vocabulary right
It
now.
is, and it's not
different, but-
much different than some of the homeless areas, say in San Francisco or what have you. So, then the Bell riots were supposed to happen, and that was Cisco coming back in time from Deep Space Nine. So, anyway, it's
That was in a sanctuary district. I think are you going to go through them all? Because I don't want to jump ahead of you. Because the last one in this list was the one I thought was most fascinating.
Go ahead.
There's a baseball. Yeah. So somebody named, somebody from Deep Space Nine, Harmon Buckeye.
Yeah.
One of the greatest players of the game in human history, becomes the first solar system-wide batting champion. And what they commented on in this article was like how throughout the World War III and the sanctuary riots and all the things, the climate change and all the stuff that's going on, somehow baseball continues. through all that, through like the next 20 years.
So the flip side of it is, what did some of these shows get right?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, do we want to make that another show?
Well, we could, but we're short on time. There are a couple things that
Well,
come
we
to
do
mind.
have one more thing.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
All right, let's save that. What did shows get right?
I think that would be worthy of another show.
And in the words of Steve Jobs, we have one more thing.
One more thing.
From Jay. Jay, you have a new segment for the podcast. New segment,
start
new you,
in the
new
next episode. Yeah, I came across this
And may I
book.
say we predicted this segment would happen.
We did. A couple of times.
But we luckily we would get this right.
Now, I'll give Robbie credit because he had a stack of books in here one day and said, "Hey, we
Trying to
like
get rid of
some books."
stuff.
And so I took one of these called "The League of Regrettable."
He thought it was
Superheroes.
collectible.
Yeah. Well, hey, it might be after I finish my segments. The author is John Morris, or the compiler and author was John Morris, and basically it's about 50 superheroes from the comics beginning in the early 40s, the Golden Age, and on throughout pretty close to now. But superheroes that just didn't quite make it very long in the comics. But some have experienced some revival, some have come out in other iterations, and some have come back and forth. Some made it like 2 issues. But we'll just kind of go through those one by one and talk about who they were and whether or not maybe they deserve a reboot.
Okay. Well, that would be fun.
And some of these, you talked about copyright earlier. Some of them have lapsed copyrights because there are companies that are putting out modern day comic books with characters that are in the public domain.
That's what we should do, guys. I mean, you've already got the Jack Quasar book. We could just have a bunch of guest stars.
Yeah.
That's our $1 million idea.
That's the $1 million idea.
Steamboat Willie and Tigger.
2. Yeah. So,
and maybe one of these regrettable superheroes.
That would be awesome.
So what are you going to do, Jay? What's the segment?
I'm just going to go through one by one and talk about the different heroes that are of yesteryear that didn't quite make it.
Jay's regrettable segment.
That's exactly where I was going.
Jay's regrettable segment. Yeah.
3 episodes in, we realized. No, that really sounds pretty good.
JRS.
I found it fascinating reading about it. Because some of them were so close to heroes that did make it.
Yeah.
And some that didn't. It's just interesting to find out why they didn't.
Well,
speculate.
Well, it's story, it's distribution, it's a variety of things.
Yeah.
So, but we look forward to Jay's regrettable heroes. That's awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year. We'll see you next week.